Welcome to the Disc Golf Show. My name is Nick, and this is episode 13 of the 2026 season. This podcast is brought to you in part by our local pro shop, Final Nine Sports. They have two locations in the Northern California, Sacramento area, one in Rocklin and one in Orangevale. If you are in the area, go check them out. Always support your local pro shop. However, if you are unable to find what you're looking for at your local pro shop, we have a remedy. That is Disc Golf Deals USA. If you go to discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow, you can save 10% off of your entire order. Some exclusions do apply, but all the big stuff, save that money. If you're doing big orders, it adds up, so save that money. As always, we like to start off the news section with good news, and we have a couple great items to share with you. One is congratulations to James and Emily Proctor on their upcoming edition. So big support to them on their new edition. Also, Rachel Turton, who is the highest rated FPO disc golfer in the United Kingdom, rated 958, is actually expecting this year. So she has stated that she will not be competing in this season. So, we wish all the best to her. Moving on, we do have some update as to the 2026 Pro Worlds. The organizers there are projecting 10,000 spectators a day for that event, just, because of the tickets that have been sold and all that good stuff. So hopefully that does come to fruition. They're stating crowd expected to be triple size of any event that's held at DGLO, opening up to new spectator viewing lines as well. So there's going to be more areas in which spectators will be able to view the event. And large sections of invasive autumn olive have been removed. So that's probably where those new viewing lines are coming from. So that's kind of cool. There's growth out at that course. And, hopefully, as always, everything just gets better and better as we move forward with the tour. Hailey King had an update stating her tour is on hold due to injuries and life events. She is going to try to make some events this year. But she did also state there are some projects in the works. So if you're a fan of Hailey King, stay tuned to her social media portals. As for, we discussed the extension rules a couple times, but there was an immediate update that is applicable right away. Those updates are as follows. 4.09E, a player may use one time extension on each hole they play in a sudden death playoff. So these are obviously playoff related. And then 4.09F, an aggregate playoff is treated like an additional round for the purposes of allocating time extensions, regardless of the numbers of holes played. So that's good. They've done some clarification with those rules. Obviously, there was the recent playoff that probably came into play with that, but that is an immediate application of those new rules. What do you think about that? Let me know. Also, if you are looking to work in the disc golf industry, Disc Golf Pro Tour is hiring. We have the link down below. There are a couple areas in which they're hiring. Operations, they have competition manager and event experience supervisor positions available. And then as for administrative, they have a DGPT technology product director that is available to apply for. So if you are interested or qualify for those, go check them out via the link we have below. There has been a response kind of to the new tee pads that were introduced at the Big Easy, and that is by D. Lika Hauk, that is Hauk's wife. She had stated that the lines, so there were some questions as to what the lines on the tee pads were initially for, and we kind of went over that in past episodes, but just to clarify from her, lines on the back weren't run-up lines, is what she's stating. So they aren't necessarily for run-up lines. However, there are reference lines for commentators and spectators, which we did address previously. So we knew that, and it makes it easier, I guess, for them to address how the athlete approaches their procedures when they're teeing off from the tee pad. But she did state that she had another design aimed more towards James Conrad, apparently, that she hopes to showcase later in the year. So we will keep our eyes peeled for that. There is a lot of back and forth with people who think it's good or not. I think these are things, whether you like it or not, need to come into play, because then knowing what doesn't work is just as important as knowing what does. So testing these type of T-pads out will ultimately bring the community to a point where they go, okay, well, is this realistic? Is this ROI on this? Is this worth it? Is the amount of money that's actually put into it worth it? But yeah, and she did state that the lines are to help discuss pros footwork. However, for me, I think just it doesn't matter if the lines are there or not. Obviously, it can be applicable, but I think those things can be put up in post anyway. So if you're going to address and pick apart pros footwork, then you can do that in post and put some digitally enhanced lines on there. But, it's good to know the purpose of those lines. It's good to know where she's coming from when she was trying to, better the product for the player. Ultimately, that's the goal. And, got to appreciate it in the long run. So the biggest event was the Queen City Classic. That's what just finished up this last weekend. There are a few things of note. Paul Macbeth dropped out because of some issues that he was having that have been applicable to these last couple events. I'm sure he wants to be in best shape for the major that's coming up. Anthony Anselmo is the highest rated lefty ever. He's currently rated at 1042, which is actually the same rating as AB. But if you didn't see him on the coverage, which you should, because there were some coverage that had him on there, he almost eagled hole 18. I think it was in the second round. Crazy powerful lefty, and it's good to see that lefties are making it out there. As for FPO, Katrina Allen and Anakin Sten were the ones leading after round one. After round two, there was some hints on this from Cadence Burge about never having DNF'd an event, and she didn't want to, but she had some major back issues, and those ended up coming up to bite her at the early wee hours of the final round, and she ended up backing out and DNFing. It's her first DNF ever, and we hope she is able to recover, and she's hoping to be back for the major as well. So, prayers, thoughts, wishes go out to her. Hopefully she heals quickly and is able to compete in those events. The big story for FPO is that Jessica Gerthy, previously Weiss, is the one who ended up coming out on top. And right behind her, one stroke back, was Own. And so, again, we've talked about Own being a force out there, and it doesn't matter about distance. Her putting is what is super important in her game, and she's very good at it. But Jessica, who has had quite a drought in big wins, was able to get a new big win. So we wish her the best, and we're happy to see her back on top and getting a victory under her belt at the top level. So shout out to Jessica Gerthy. MPO, Casey White and Evan Smith tied for first after round one. I think it was in the second round. It might have been the third, and you've probably seen this. It's sad. It happens to all of us. But Casey was putting basically like a tap, and it was like a 6-footer. And you can see these videos online. But I think he was putting with a driver, and he just was not committing. And this just tells you, well, he ended up missing it. But this just tells you can't take any shot for granted. I don't care how close it is. You got to concentrate, go through your process. Is the best way to be consistent and make those putts no matter how long or short they are. Gannon ended up coming out on top with quite a lead. He kind of walked it in at the end. At one point, he had 8-stroke advantage. He ended up winning with a 4-stroke advantage. He is still chasing the ratings record that Paul Macbeth has set. So, he's not laying up at the end. And so he's trying to get another record under his belt. And we know he has the capability of it. It just depends on time, basically, at this point. I think the bigger story, though, in this is not that Gannon won, because that's kind of like a good, solid, easy pick for most people in their fantasy disc golf. But the bigger story are the names that were running right behind him. And those being Raven Newsom and Evan Smith, who tied for second. And then also Jake Mon takes fourth, and Harper Thompson got fifth. So these are all newer names. Jake Mon's been around a little while, but a lot of these names are newer at the top level in placement. So top 5, top 10. And we're starting to see that new wave of disc golfer in, the younger kids that are coming up. And it's good to see that because it pushes the whole game. So stay tuned to those names. Again, Raven Newsom's been around for a little bit too, but he got his first podium. Evan Smith again, Jake Mon, and Harper Thompson. One other notable is Nathan Queen. He was the one who won, I think it was a $50,000 tour championship there. He was kind of like nobody picked him in the fantasy league, but he ended up winning. And to me, I look at Nathan Queen and tell me if I'm wrong. To me, I consider him the John Daly of disc golf. John Daly is very entertaining, very laid back, seems like a really cool guy to hang out with. Nathan Queen, same thing. He's dedicated to the sport, but he looks like a very chill dude. And yeah, I'm considering him, I'm putting it out there. He is the John Daly of disc golf. So Nathan Queen. I said it first. Other than that, there were a couple things I did want to comment on. I'm kind of getting tired of seeing baseball fields on coverage. The fences, all that stuff. I know that's part of the game right now. We still are growing. So I'm going to keep that short and simple. Not a hill I'm going to die on. And ending on a good note, I think the trophies were great. Very cool. Queen trophy. It's very, very cool idea. Made out of wood. It was cool to see. I liked them a lot. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Last but not least for news is I did compete or participate and volunteer as well at our SAA Fundraiser Event. It's the Little Oaks fundraiser tournament that we had at our local private property at a private school. And it was cool because just noting that we were able to raise for the first event the school was able to raise about $2,000 towards Maranatha. And that was that business that does missions and they're doing it over to Zambia to take over medical, dental, some musical instruments and some other things to help build buildings and all that stuff. So it was really cool. And I'm not the biggest, toot my own horn, but it was really cool because I actually won with my doubles partner, Ryan, and we took the win in MA2. And it was really cool. Single round event. Fun because it's doubles. Doubles is always fun. I think a big part of disc golf is doubles, random doubles as well. But I think in your area, let me know, do you have a doubles tour for your local clubs or anything like that? Let me know down below because that is definitely something I'm thinking about trying to initiate here in our area in Northern California. Get some people on board to do like a doubles annual season. So that would be cool. Hopefully this does turn into an annual event. So I'm going to stay on top of that and I'll let you guys know how that comes. All right, moving on. That brings us to the question of the episode. And this question is related to that last topic. What is your favorite local fundraising disc golf event that you participate or volunteer in? And I would say, I know most of the comments will probably be Ice Bowl. We have that as well. But is there something unique in your area, fundraising wise, that you guys do? Because I'm always interested to find out, because maybe that's a possibility here with some of our clubs. Before we move on to gear and equipment, guys, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap, punch, smash, whatever it is. Like, share, notifications, all the goods. It's really appreciated. Thank you so much. All right, we're on to gear and equipment, guys. There were a few approved discs, approved molds this last week. One of them, the first being from Castaplast. That is the mold called the GAD, G-A-D-D. Also with dynamic discs, we have the Mutiny, which is an overstable mid-range. And then we have nice discs, the Macava. First ever disc for them. It's a 3D printed disc. I'll get some more information on this for you guys because I am interested in it. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those. I like those small manufacturers that come up. As for recent upcoming releases, Nicolas Antala recently announced the disc, he's promoting the Discmania Flex 3 P1. So it hasn't been made in a while, he's stating, if you are interested, it's available in purple pink, white purple, and black and white combinations. And Trash Panda was teasing the biggest collab ever to drop on Earth Day. So stay tuned for that because we will let you know about that. And last but not least, most important part of your disc golf equipment is your shoes. We always like to promote those that promote the sport or help the sport, and that is Idio Sports. They have the Syncrasy and the Brawler. So Go check those out. And then Vessi shoes. So depending on your taste, what you like the looks of, go check out both those options. I know there's a bunch of others out there, but definitely go check out Idio Sports and Vessi. We're at upcoming events. So in the next couple weeks, we've got a couple events here. April 4th, this coming weekend, we've got the OTB Tour Skins at Coyote Cut. It's a Go Throw event, and that is in Pittsboro, North Carolina at Coyote Cut Disc Golf Course. If you are interested in going there and spectating, adult tickets are $40, and if you're under 16, free. That's always awesome to hear. April 9th to 12th is the 2026 PDGA Champions Cup. This is the first PDGA major of this season, presented by Vessi, and that is in Lynchburg and Bedford County, Virginia. And we know that area because Foundation. So stay tuned for those events coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing the first major, as well as the OTB Tour Skins. Those are always fun to watch. We're at Mailbag, guys. So product review. This is where Mailbag is where we like to share some products and some videos that you can check out. Maybe you've seen them, maybe you haven't. First being, oh, actually, you know what? Before I move on, this is what I got for that fundraiser tournament. So shout out to Ryan. We both got one. All right, as for products, big shout out to Hoof and Skull. This is a coffee company that was nice enough to send us a couple samples. So if you are a coffee person, go check them out. They're veteran owned and active duty run. So they sent us a couple items, and if you'd like coffee or even mushroom coffee, they have some of that as well. So if you go to hoofskull.com, HOOFSKULL.com, the ones that they sent us were Doc's Blend. It's a medium roast. It's premium, extra caffeinated. Looking forward to trying that out. It's Robusta bean infused coffee, known for its note of chocolate, nuts, and woody taste. So that one's interesting. This one I'm more excited for is the dark roast. It's a specialty grade 6-bean house espresso. I love the aftertaste of espresso, and they sent one my way. Meticulous blend of coffee from around the world. As for the mushroom coffee, it's called Coffee Time. Medium roast, specialty grade, ground coffee with mushrooms, and that includes coffee, lion's mane, cordyceps, and reishi. And the flavor notes on that are apple, dark chocolate, and nuts. And then another product is more of a game. Well, it is a game, and that's Disc Golf Masters. It's on Steam, and if you haven't heard of it, go check it out. Very realistic, kind of a Tiger Woods style game, but they are actually working on player customization for the game, which is cool because then you can put yourself in there. I know that they already have characters available, some really fun ones, but you're going to be able to put yourself in there in some fashion. As for the video, guys, this is more of a channel. ABC Welding on TikTok. If you go check them out, you'll see a lot of awesome custom baskets that the guy is making and starting out trying to build some different ideas. It all depends on, you know, want. It depends on if there are people out there willing to pay for his services, and they are amazing, amazing. So ABC, I think it's abc.welding. So at abc.welding. But go check them out on TikTok. This is a shorter episode, guys. I have a lot going on this last week, and that brings us to the outro. And you know, we like to help you save some money. And ways we can do that is if you go to Upper Park Disc Golf, if you're looking for a bag, check them out. Use code Disc Golf Show, save some money there. As for gear and equipment, you know that segment is sponsored by Disc Golf Deals USA. And again, we're going to shout them out here. discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. You can go there, load up that cart, save 10% off your entire order. Some exclusions do apply. They're usually brand new molds, so don't worry too much about it. But baskets, carts, bags, large order, you need some practice putters, like 10, 20 putters to practice with. Go snag it. Save the money that you can because it does add up if you're doing a large order. Again, this episode is brought to you in part by Disc Golf Deals and our local pro shop, Final Nine Sports. If you are in the Northern California, Sacramento area, they have 2 locations, one in Orangevale and one in Rocklin. Always support local if you can. You know, that's where disc golf started, those local pro shops, and we very much appreciate their support. And if you have anything you want to send my way, send me an email at discgolfshow@gmail.com. because I'd love to put some information, more information that's maybe somewhere other than my area, which I try to stay on top of a lot of different areas, but you know, I can only do so much. So you can help me out. Send me some information. Maybe it's an event in your area. Maybe it's a small business that needs some help promoting. Send it my way. I'm happy to throw it in. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, like, share. I'm probably missing something. Hopefully not. All the goods. And I will see you next week. All right, guys. Have a good one.